A very good evening to all of you guys. Hope you guys are doing well. And today is a bit of a good day for us, especially for the virtual class, because I think island-wide, the power cut has been reduced to 1 hour. And I assume that 1 hour of the power cut in your area, yes, God willingly, will not be falling within 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. so that all of you can have a very productive, very effective virtual learning session along with me, right? Okay, so let's make use of this opportunity we have got, right, of the least number of hours of power cut in a while. Okay, right. Otherwise, we only get the freedom of having electricity continuously supplied on a special occasion or a holiday, right? Okay, so I don't know, maybe because it's heavily raining in the catchment areas where our reservoirs are, right? So maybe that is the reason that they are able to only have a power cut for 1 hour, right? So anyway, let's take that advantage, right? So also just wanted to check very quickly. Now, last week I said that we are completing 4 sessions since we started our classes in the month of July, right? We did an introduction in June, and then we started off the syllabus in the month of July. And we did 4 classes in July, if you guys remember. The recordings of those sessions are available for anyone who has joined the session newly, and anyone who wants to cover the sessions that you have missed, or maybe go through them again on the website under the recorded or the catch-up option. You can find this, right? If you guys have any kind of confusions navigating the website, please do let me know. Not now, but towards the end of the class, after I finish the session, if you guys can hang on for a bit, right? I can take you to the website and just help you with the navigation, right? So we can do that. So the recorded version is there for anyone who has missed the first 4 classes. And also I said last week, from today onwards, we need to, because it has been 1 month since we started classes with her, there will be new students, your schoolmates, friends joining classes in future weeks, right? In future months. That's okay. That's normally how the advanced level classes work. It gradually builds up. Now, there will be another bunch of students, another group of students who will join classes when what happens? You all did something in May, and something else is supposed to happen, hopefully, once everything is done. What is that? Anyone? Most of you guys, all of you guys are eagerly awaiting this to happen. Most probably by this month or next month at least. What is this? What is this event all of you guys are looking forward to? I hope you all are looking forward to, eagerly awaiting what? Ah, very good. Yes, Sarah said it correctly. O-level results. No, you guys remember O-levels? Yes, right. Okay. So you guys are awaiting your O-level results. So normally, Pata, what happens is for commerce subjects like economics, commerce, art subjects like economics, there's another bunch of students who decide their stream for advanced levels after the results are issued. So they will also join eventually, right? Sometime after, once the results have been released. But you guys have made decisions. You guys have been very proactive rather than reactive. And you guys have decided this is what you want to do, and you're in the class. That's brilliant. But the thing is, with already about the 2 years we get to cover your syllabus and prepare you all for the exam is already cut short, because your O-level exam was dragged on until the month of May. So then we started in June, did an introduction. Then we properly started the syllabus in July. So we can't wait anymore. I'm sure all of you guys understand this. So any of your schoolmates, classmates, your O-level friends, whoever who is waiting for results, that's up to them. That's their right. But much as possible, every time you speak to them, chat with them, try to encourage them to make a decision and join classes as soon as possible, because we shouldn't wait too long also. And once they join after results, they will be able to catch up. They will be able to get the job done, but they will have to put a bit of effort to go through the recorded version and things like that. If I have time, I might start a small bridging program. That means a small set of classes I might do. Basically, I will schedule the recordings, and at the end, I will be available for a Q&A kind of a thing, so that students can catch up and continue the work with you guys, right? So yeah, because of this, because anyway there will be students joining, and anyway we will have a plan to help them catch up. We need to speed up a bit. Okay, so we will be covering more areas than we used to do in the first 4 classes, starting with this particular class, right? Okay. So I think you guys are clear on that also. Last week when I checked, the number was a bit disappointing for me. I hope you guys have done the best you can and figured this out. Have all of you guys been able to ensure, or at least most of you, that you have the hard copy of the study material during the week? Yes? Did you guys somehow get in touch with the coordinator, make sure the payment was done and the payment proof was shown, or you got it done? You coordinated with the coordinator and got the study materials? Yes? Right. If there's anyone still who hasn't got the hard copy of this material, which you need to have, and if there is a problem that you're facing, if there's an issue, please let me know. Use the group chat option or unmute the microphone, and please let me know so that I can do something about it, right? If not, please make sure that you already have the hard copy of this study material with you, the first book for Unit 1, right? And that you're taking down the notes and doing this properly, okay? For some reason, still, if you haven't collected or made arrangements to get this delivered, right? Then today, as always, notepad, notebook, write everything down. When I say everything down, whatever you have to write, what is the color in which it will appear on our virtual whiteboard? The virtual whiteboard is the PowerPoint slides that I'm using. In what color would it appear? Someone who is familiar can help us out. Very good. Yes. Akila, very correct. It will appear in blue color. Okay. Anything that appears on the slides in blue color is something you have to copy down. Even if you have the hard copy of the study material, there will be a space in the study material for you to write that note, right? Writing is a key pillar of learning. So we have to write, we have to read, we have to listen, then we have to apply. Once we do these 4 things, you learn anything. That's how you learn, right? Okay. So with that, without taking any more of your time, let's proceed to the lesson of the day. There'll be a few slides that will be a very quick recap of what we did last week, right? If there's anyone who is joining us for the first time today, please don't worry about it. Just go with the flow, right? As they say, go with the flow, and learn what I am teaching or what we are learning today. Just concentrate on that and get the job done today. Don't worry about what you have missed. Don't worry about, how to get it covered and all that now. That's not a smart thing to do, right? Sometimes you have to live in the moment, especially when you participate in the class. Concentrate on what's happening during that class. Are we clear? Right. So please make sure that you have that mindset, right? The Latin phrase for this, it's not exactly what I'm saying, but there's a nice Latin phrase which simply translated to English means seize the day or seize the moment. Anyone knows what that Latin phrase is? Yes, it's a very famous thing in some movies also. No? Have heard? No? No? Okay, right. We use a bit of Latin in economics, right? The word economics comes from the Greek language, and we're a bit European there in that sense, right? Okay. So the Latin phrase is carpe diem. The simple translation of carpe diem is seize the day, right? So rather than worrying about the past, rather than worrying about the future, live at that in that moment and learn everything that we learn today, right? Carpe diem. Right. Okay. So here we go. Have you guys asked any questions? No, not yet. Excellent. Okay, not yet. Here we go. Right. All of you see the full screen, the slide on the full screen. Right. Introduction to Economics, Unit 1. This is part 5, meaning overall our 5th virtual session. Don't worry. Just concentrate on today. Right. Now, the last time we did the class, so I'm giving a recap, so that will help, right, for the continuation. We wanted to define the concept called human needs. Our objective was to define human needs. And when we defined human needs, we realized in economics, right, whenever we define human needs, right, whenever we define human needs, we concentrate on, or we want to give the clear idea that needs are the essential or the necessary requirements. These are the most essential or necessary requirements for a person or a given individual to live his or her life in a, how do we say it, Putha? Socially acceptable manner. To have some minimum or a basic, what standard? Living standard, quality of life. So needs are things in economics that we find difficult to live without. Out of the needs, there is a certain set of requirements or certain set of needs that are impossible to live without. Needs are things that we find it difficult to live without. So what are the words we use, Putha? Things like, the words like essential, necessary, necessities. We use words like that when we talk needs. Another very good English word we use is, we say needs tend to be indispensable. So, right, cannot live without, difficult to live without, indispensable. Then out of what we call needs, there is a special category that those are needs, we call them, or we say these needs, the special category of needs, 5 things actually, we cannot live without. Needs difficult to live without. These 5 things we cannot live without. What do we call them? Can anyone, remind this to the class? What do we call these 5 things that we cannot live without or cannot survive without? Very good. Let's see. I'm getting some responses. Come on, guys. You guys have to respond. Yes, remember, only then this becomes an effective platform, virtual learning. Very good. Yes, Akila, correct. Hasini, correct. You have given the items also, items themselves. Brilliant. What do we call these, Putha? Anyone else who would like to contribute? Just what you remember from the previous session. There are needs are essential, necessary things we find difficult to live without, or we find difficult to have a socially acceptable life without. And then there is a special category of needs which we cannot live without. What are they called? Anyone else who would like to contribute? Good. I'm getting some answers. Sarah, Hasini, correct? Yes. Right. Okay. Nuha, correct. Good. Right. I think you guys are there. Good. Excellent. Yes, we call them, Putha, our basic human needs. We refer to them as what? Why is this not working? We refer to them as basic human needs. We refer to them as basic human needs, and they are required for our survival. You can't live unless these are satisfied. So just a quick reminder, if I ask you to list them, what would you tell me? If someone, at least one of you guys could unmute the microphone and maybe tell me, then it's quicker. Okay, some of you are using the group chat option. Hasini, you already gave some of these. What are these 5 basic human needs? 1, yes, we say food. We talk about air, but right, it's available free of charge, and we do it naturally, breathing, right? 2, we talk about maybe clothes. 3, as you guys are saying, we talk about shelter. These are the most basic of the basic human needs, actually. Food includes water also. Then we have 4 and 5. Number 4, we talk about, yes, maybe health. And number 5, we look at some kind of education, which we mostly say basic or primary education, some basic or primary education. So these are our basic human needs, right? Then we also identified that our needs have certain characteristics. How do we identify whether something is a need? If something is a need, we said, right, we don't have to write this even though it's in blue color. Last week we wrote these things, right? They are basic in nature, right? That means they are not complicated. They are very biological, connected with our body, connected with our mind. They are very easy to identify when it comes to needs, very basic. And needs can't be artificially created. It has to come within each person. Needs have to be created. I can't remember whether we did this. If we didn't, we need to, did we add another thing here? Maybe you guys can help me a bit. Did we add that needs are common to every person and every society? Did we add that? Ah, yes, brilliant. So we also say, right, I'll use the red color for now. We also say needs are basically common, right? Or needs tend to be a bit, we can say universal. When something is universal, it is the same for everyone. Now they say music is universal. Love is universal, right? People living in any country, anywhere in the world, they have this unique feeling you get with music. You know, we all feel love. You get what I'm saying? So these are universal. Needs are universal. The needs you guys have, needs I have, needs people living in another country have, teenagers in another country have, are always the same. They are common because they are very basic things. Then needs are relatively limited. We don't have many needs, right? We only have a handful of needs. And several basic needs and other needs. For example, food, clothes, shelter, health and education. Then maybe things like transportation, communication, right? Maybe a bit of entertainment, these kinds of things. So if those are satisfied, we can live a socially acceptable life, right? Without a problem. Then needs only need to be satisfied at a minimum, socially acceptable level. If needs are satisfied, we are happy with it. Then we can tick the box saying needs and say, okay, our needs are satisfied, right? These are the features, how we recognize whether something is a need, right? Then we talked about, we have to talk about in your syllabus 3 types of needs. Okay, 3 types of needs. The first type I think we covered, that is material and psychological needs. Psychological needs are also called anyone? Come on, you all know this. Psychological needs, aka also known as, aka meaning also known as what needs? Psychological needs are also known as emotional needs. What needs? Emotional needs, right? So I think we wrote this part of the note also. Material needs, sometimes called physical needs, better to use the word material, are needs that can be satisfied by using goods and services, consuming goods and services. You can fulfill them using goods as well as services. Food, water, clothes, transport, education, shelter. These are all examples of material needs. We wrote this note also, I think. Yes. Right? Right. Then psychological, aka emotional needs, right? Psychological or emotional needs, they cannot be effectively fulfilled. You can't effectively satisfy psychological needs using goods and services. Psychological needs can only be effectively satisfied, by having some kind of a interaction, a relationship with another human being, right? Another human being. So examples of psychological or emotional needs are things like security, respect, family, love, sex, belongingness, recognition. You know, those are good examples of psychological needs, emotional needs, right? For a healthy human being, when we say health, Putta, today we not only talk about physical health, we also talk about mental health, especially with the pandemic and all the problems that Sri Lankans are undergoing these days. Actually, we might need to focus more on the mental health of people. Now, why did I say pandemic and mental health? Right? Coronavirus affects our body, no, physically, no. Then why am I talking? Because with the coronavirus, there was a lot of problems when people had to stay home for a long period of time, and our normal activities were affected. We had to get used to a new normal. Then there's always this pressure that comes with, the lockdowns and things like that. So psychological health, mental health is important. So humans, for a person to be a healthy human being, right? A happy human being, you need both physical and mental needs to be fulfilled, right? The basic ones to be fulfilled. So, but in economics, we understand the importance of psychological or emotional needs, Putta, but unfortunately, economics as a subject does not concentrate on the psychological needs people have. Economics as a subject fully concentrates, the complete focus of economics is on, right, the economic point of view, POV. Economic point of view, the economic focus is on what needs? Material needs. The needs we can fulfill by producing goods and services using our limited resources. The needs we can satisfy by answering the three basic or fundamental economic questions. When we use our scarce or limited resources, we always have to answer three questions. Remember, we talked about this a bit. What are these three questions that every society in the world has to answer? These three questions would be, anyone who might have learned in school or who might remember what we did. It's okay. If you remember, fine. If not, that's perfectly okay. We can continue to talk about it. Right. Every society in the world has to decide, Putta, what. Every society has to decide how. Every society has to decide whom. We will learn. Don't worry. Right. So all of these end with the same way. What to produce. Right? How to produce, whom to produce. Produce meaning we are talking about goods and services, which means we are only focusing in economics. If these are the basic questions we answer in our subject, then the economic point of view is on the material needs, because only material needs can be satisfied using goods and services. Okay, right. I think you guys are clear. Okay, right. Let's move on then. So we start today's discussion. I think we have to start here. Correct? Basic needs and other needs. Come on, Buddha. Quickly respond. Correct? This is where we start today's session. Yes? Okay. All of my intelligent participants, try your best, at least in a few occasions. With I create many situations where you can respond, right? That you're all also responding. You're part of the discussion, right? Make your presence felt, right? That is also part of living in the moment, right? Okay, yes, good. So the second, first was material psychological. Secondly, we look at basic needs, then other needs. So when we say basic needs, we know these things about the food, including water, clothes, shelter, health, and the basic education. Sometimes we simply say primary education, which all of you have got, right? At least the ability to read and write and understand something, right? A bit of basic mathematics, stuff like that, right? Other needs. What are other needs? Examples for other needs would be things like communication, transportation, right? Very important needs. These are say the need to feel safe and secure. So for us to satisfy this need, we need to maintain something called what? Law and order. The main job of the police, maintaining law and order. Then also remember, when it comes to other needs, they are not only physical things. They're not only material things. They could be psychological things like self-esteem, respect, right? All of these achieving life goals can be part of our other needs. Now, each of these, right? So you guys realize, let me use quickly another color, right? So the primary part will go off, but you guys should be okay, right? What I am now ticking off with the green color marker, we'll say virtual whiteboard, is the material ones, no? Food, clothes, shelter, health, service, but material need, basic education, right? Then communication, you can satisfy with a service, transportation, service, the need to feel safe and secure, safety and security, you can provide it, right? It has to come from other institutions, human beings, but you can provide it, right? So I'll just stick that also. But when it comes to the things that I'm ticking off with the red color marker, you guys understand that they are more of what kind of needs? Earlier classification, they are more emotional needs. So basic needs are material. Other needs can have material needs as well as some of our psychological or emotional needs. So sometimes we use the word physiological also for this. In your study material, if you guys are okay with it, I can quickly share that on the screen. You guys have the hard copy of this study material with you, most of you, and others will also do by next week, right? So you guys can see it by now. Right. So we have written all this. Here we go. So basic needs. These are needs to be fulfilled for the purpose of subsistence. Or what do we call them, Putta? Survival. Subsistence or survival. Learn the word subsistence also, right? Just try to remember that word also. Right. Then other needs. These are the physiological needs, right? Or psychological needs and social needs, psychological and social needs, other than basic needs. Examples were given earlier, right? So that is the second type of need. Then we go into this model called Maslow's hierarchy model, right? So maybe I can do it here and then we'll go to the slides. So this social scientist, a very popular social scientist by the name of Abraham Maslow has introduced several models. And one very popular model introduced by Abraham Maslow is, some people say Maslow, some people say Maslow, right? Anyway, Abraham Maslow is the hierarchy of needs model. So by doing a very deep, long-term study, a sociological study of the human behavior, Maslow realized that humans have a certain right. Humans have a certain, what we say about the order in which a certain psychological ranking we have in our head, in our mind, when it comes to fulfilling needs. The word hierarchy or hierarchical, right, means going in there's a certain order, hierarchy. Now, if you take your household, at home, when it comes to managing your household, when it comes to making decisions at home, there's a certain hierarchy. Now you have your parents on the top. Then if you have maybe any elder siblings, brothers or sisters, they will be above you. Then maybe you're there. And if you have pets, they will be at the bottom of the hierarchy, I assume. They don't make decisions that much. Is that clear? So the hierarchy, maybe if you have your grandparents also living with you, they might not be in the hierarchy itself, but they might be maybe consultants, advisors to your parents, even for you, right, with their life experience. So, but even in a household, there's a certain hierarchy of how things happen. So Maslow saw in society, when people with their lives or in their lives, when people try to fulfill their needs, they have a hierarchy, they have an order in which they go. And also Maslow saw something else, that is, in any society in the world, most people in any society in the world, most people are in the first few levels of the hierarchy, trying to fulfill the first few things, right? You don't think about the highest level. You can skip some levels. That's okay, right? With the help of your parents, you guys are skipping some of these levels, but if you just think about it, what happens is you don't think about the higher, the needs at the higher level, higher part of the hierarchy, right? Before you satisfy the lower one. So most people in society, Pata, are struggling to satisfy the base of the pyramid. Now, and that's why actually, because there are more people in the bottom and less people when it goes to the top of the hierarchy. That's why Maslow has used a pyramid-like, a triangle-like structure for his model, not a cylinder-like thing. Then that means an equal number of people are at the same level, or the importance is the same. No. He's using a pyramid structure. What he's trying to say with that is, in any society, the bottom is the broadest part of the pyramid. So more people in the bottom, right? Then less and less people. Of course, if you look at it from the survival, or if you look at it from the survival point of view, for you to live as a human being, the most important things are in the bottom. When you go up, without satisfying the higher things in the pyramid, you can live, you can survive. But human nature is, we have a continuous need to keep achieving things in life and keep improving our living standard, quality of life, because humans have this unquenchable, unsatisfiable need to continuously improve our quality of life, the need to continuously live better. What happens is, Maslow says, people keep throughout their lifetime trying to climb this hierarchy. Okay, right. What we are going to do now is, we are going to write some examples for these 5 levels of Maslow's hierarchy. For each level, we are going to write a few examples that will help us easily understand the meaning for these different levels. Okay, right. Got it, Putta? Clear? Right. Let's go back to our slides and continue the discussion. Right. So Maslow's hierarchical model. Right. Here we go. So first thing is, we have physiological needs. Sometimes called, right? Physiological needs are sometimes called physical or body. Can you write that, Putta, quickly? I'm sure you guys can see it in the bottom. Physiological, sometimes called physical or body needs. Physical or body needs. And then please write, if you have the hard copy of the study material, you will know where to write. If not, in your notepad or notebook, just say page 18. Maybe write the heading as Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and you are writing the examples. Air, food, drink, sleep, shelter. These are the best examples for the physiological physical or body needs humans have. And it's very logical for you guys to understand that, okay? It's very logical for you guys to understand that these are the needs we have to satisfy first and foremost. These are the needs we have to satisfy first and foremost. And most people in society, especially in countries like ours, not island countries, but developing countries, right? Especially in a country like ours at this moment of time, when we are in a socio-economic political crisis situation, many people on a day-to-day basis are struggling to satisfy their what needs? Physiological, physical or body needs. Okay, right. Then once you are fulfilled, you generally look for the next thing. What is the next thing? Safety or security needs. Also write the word security, Putta. Safety or security needs. So please write some examples. It's not in blue color, but you have to write. Okay, write some examples. Things like protection, security. You know, that feeling we want to have. Now your parents do that for you guys. When you're at home, you know, you're protected. You know, your parents will protect you, safeguard you. That feeling. Yes, it's an important, more psychological, but it's nevertheless, now we need law and order for this purpose, right? So I've given the examples there. So once your body, what your body needs is satisfied, your body needs are satisfied. Once you feel safe and secure, then you start looking for another level of needs. Next step of the hierarchy. What is the next step of the hierarchy? Love or belongingness. Love or belongingness. So under this, we look for things like family. We look for things like love. We look for things like relationships. You know, different kinds of relationships we create during our lifetime, right? Friends, another important aspect of love or belongingness needs. Okay, so all of these are important to satisfy. Then you feel you are not alone. Then you feel that you are an important part of the society, or at least you are part of a greater society, right? You have a network around you, family, friends, relatives, you know, colleagues when you start working, you know, colleagues likewise. So you have that love, belongingness is there. You belong to the society. Once that is satisfied, then we look for, right, esteem needs. Esteem needs. Okay. Now, yeah, esteem needs. What are esteem needs? Sometimes we say ego. So write that also within brackets with the ego needs or esteem needs. So basically, then all of us want to have a certain status in society, reputation, achievement, a sense of achievement. Now, why you guys, I believe, why you guys after O levels want to do advanced levels? After advanced levels, why you would want to do higher studies, either academic or professional or both? Why you want to do higher studies? After higher studies, why do you want to, you know, start working, build what we call a career, right? In your job, why do you want to perform, work hard, perform, right? And get promoted. Yes, go for higher and higher designations, as we call climbing the corporate ladder. Why do you want to do all these things? And after some time, you know, after your basic higher studies, you know, why do you want to maybe go back to studies, like maybe go and do something like a master's degree, right? And sometimes you want to go up to a doctorate in philosophy, that is a PhD. Why do you want to do all this? All this is what is driving us to do all this is this esteem, ego needs that we have. Okay. Then once you have fulfilled all of that, Maslow says people reach a certain point in the hierarchy called, a hierarchy called self-actualization. Self-actualization, right? What is self-actualization? This is where you want to now have a lot of personal growth. It's not the material side, actually, Buddha. Personal growth is not about your wealth. Personal growth is not about your wealth or how much money you have, how much assets you have. No, that's not personal growth. Personal growth is, or this even fulfillment. These are things, these are more emotional things, psychological things. It's where you feel that your life has a lot of meaning, that your life has fulfilled the purpose that you were, these are big sayings, people say, I feel like I have fulfilled the purpose I was put on this earth for. What I was supposed to do, I have done. That kind of feeling if someone gets, if someone wants to become a better human being, so people become very charitable when they reach this stage. People stop thinking about what I can do for myself, and they start thinking, what can I do for others? How can I make society better? You get involved in more social things, and you focus on how to make life better for others. Now, for example, if you take people like, right, Bill Gates, now him and his former wife, they started one of the largest, most widespread charitable foundations in the world. Can someone tell me what is the company Bill Gates founded? Bill Gates is the founder of which company? One of the richest people in the world still. Yeah, okay, good. I'm getting an answer or two. Very good, Hasini. Very correct. Anyone else who would like to share? Sarah, very correct. Right? Yes. Anyone else? Let's see. Amani. Yes, Sarah, you have completed. Right. Okay. Right. Then Amna, very correct. Good. Excellent. Anyone else? Right. Okay. So yes, Bill Gates is one of the founding founders of Microsoft. Still, perhaps, yeah, still one of the largest software, IT, or computer companies in the world, right? They still have a big presence in the Silicon Valley of, America, the whole IT software, hub, right? And he's one of the richest people in the world, along with people like Jeff Bezos. What is Jeff Bezos? What is the company? Bill Gates is from a slightly different generation. Jeff Bezos is also not a young person, but what is his? Jeff Bezos? Maybe I'm not pronouncing his last name properly, right? Amani, no, that's Elon Musk, right? Jeff Bezos is, yes, Amazon, very correct, right? Sarah, Akila, very correct, Amazon, right? So Amazon, how did it start? Just a few things with the economics, no, right? So how did Amazon start? As what did they start? Today, they are one of the biggest online market spaces in the world. They have gone into this e-commerce in a big way. Cloud computing they do big way, right? They are even having some project to do with like Tesla is, Elon Musk is having, like SpaceX. Amazon also has a space related program also, and they are very big in the what do you call this? Now the Amazon has Amazon Prime and streaming services like Netflix and all that. All that they do. But what did they start as originally? Very good. Sarah, brilliant. Yes. Akila, very correct. Excellent. You guys know these things. That's good. Right? Economics is the subject, but it's a vast, broad subject. Anything is something we talk about. Right? And we can connect it with our subject. Yes. Amazon started about 15 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, maybe more than that, I believe, right? As a virtual bookstore. So this gentleman called Jeff Bezos, he got this bright idea that people don't have to go to a brick and mortar actual place and buy books. We can sell books online. And for the first many years, Amazon, the virtual bookstore, was loss making. They were not making profits, but this individual didn't give up and kept working on it. So we'll talk a bit more when we learn the factor of production called entrepreneurship, right? There's a few things to learn there. So but the people like Jeff Bezos, people like Microsoft founder Bill Gates, Bill and Melinda Foundation, then Warren Buffett, all-time billionaire, right? Then people like Elon Musk, these people, right? Maybe Richard Branson, Virgin Group, right? These people, yes, and maybe if you take our neighboring country, people like Rajan Tata, those people, you know, maybe the people that Sri Lankans are not pretty good, happy with I can't remember now, the people who are trying to get involved with our port and everything. Adani, sorry, thank you, Hasini. So Adani's, all these people, maybe they have reached, you know, they have reached this level called self-actualization. Got it? Right. I think we are okay. So you guys are done with the examples, I'm sure. Shall we move on? Right. Then we start talking about wants, human wants. Right. So let's learn wants. Okay. Right. Just yesterday. Okay. This is my my style of teaching, and my teaching philosophy is based on this. If I come across something interesting, something I think that is a positive thing for you guys, I will share it with you. Right. So yesterday, and for a few months, I've been following this. There's this YouTuber, or there's this young people, right? They have this YouTube channel. I don't know what exactly is the name of the channel, but I think one thing I saw was, it says simple books or something like that. Also at one point they keep saying watch a book. Normally we read a book, no? So their concept is watch a book. So what they do is these very motivating books. Yes, let's see, maybe some of you guys know this. I am watching their videos. Yes, they are really interesting. I think it's more than just a person sitting and talking about their opinions, right? What this young gentleman, and I think they have a big team behind them, right? They've done it very nicely. What they do is, they go through, they read a book, they really go through everything, they get the key points out of it, especially books about, the different habits of successful people, very interesting books, more management related, more entrepreneurship related. So it's relevant for you guys as commerce students or as art students who are doing economics, almost every week, right? At least a couple of times a month, I think, they put out a video on their YouTube channel. You can simply just watch it. Within about 15-20 minutes, they explain the key points of a very interesting, very value-adding book. And they do it in Sinhalese. I think that's also really good, because then everyone can get to learn. Language doesn't need to become a barrier. No? So if you're good in Sinhalese, I think they use the English terms, so it's easy for you to understand, but they very nicely explain in Sinhalese also. So for me, even now, even though I teach in English medium, Sinhalese is a bit more comfortable still, right? Because we studied, we did our O-levels and advanced levels in Sinhala medium. So I think it's a really nice thing if you can just watch, right? Okay. So just thought of sharing, because we were talking about those people like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos and people like that. Right. So, right. So let's look at human wants, Buddha. Shall we do this? Can you guys write this definition given by Professor Prasanna Pereira in his Introduction to Economics textbook, right? I'll talk about this textbook a bit later. As I said, if I come across something good, I will share it with you, right? Professor Prasanna Pereira, this is my copy, so it looks a bit used, right? So this is the textbook I'm referring to here, right? Written by Professor Prasanna Pereira, and it's a very comprehensive textbook, Buddha. Actually, with your permission, can I take a few minutes to quickly share this with you, because this is directly relevant to your exam. This professor and another professor that I'm going to talk about next, both of them are directly involved in setting your paper. Okay, do I have your permission to take a few minutes of your time to quickly talk about this? Don't worry, I'm not going to like Amazon did in the beginning. I'm not going to sell have a sales pitch for the book, right? Okay, I think this is important for you guys. As your economics teacher, it's my job to share this, right? Most economics teachers, unfortunately, don't like to talk about this book. They are afraid if their students buy this book and read, they will come and ask questions and it will be a headache for them, right? Okay, so I'm confident with what I teach. So I'm very okay with recommending this. So this is the English medium version. I know you guys can't read it properly. It says Introduction to Economics, book 1, right? Book 1, right? Then this book that I just showed you guys, right? In your WhatsApp group, I'll give more details about it later. The book that I just showed you, if you can excuse me for one second, I can get these other books, right, from the shelf, right? Right. Again, this is my copy, so it's a bit worn off and torn and stuff like that, right? Ignore this. This is the Sinhalese medium book. This is written by Professor Emeritus. That is the most senior title that is given to a professor in our university system in the world even. Professor Danny Atapattu. So he is basically your examiner, right? This book is the Sinhalese medium version, and what Professor Prasanna Pereira, after us pleading and convincing him for a long period of time, finally what Professor Prasanna Pereira did was took this book, translated it into English, and added some very interesting value-adding things also. And now we have for the first time since 2020, we have an English medium economics textbook, professor written, recommended for local advanced levels, local syllabus in English medium. Okay, and this is book 1. Then professor last year published the second book as well. Don't look at this view, you guys will get scared. So let's go with this, right? The second book as well. So this has the first book has the first 6 units of the syllabus, and the second book has the second 6 units of the syllabus. As you guys remember, our syllabus has 12 units. So in other words, grade 12 and grade 13, 2 books are there. So if you want further details about these books, and if you want to purchase them, they're a bit expensive. It's an investment actually. But if you want to purchase them, have these books with you, those kinds of things, please leisurely give a call or drop a WhatsApp message to the coordinator. He will share the details with you. And Professor has given us a few books which we are offering to Mind Ventures or Mind-Hub students at a bit of a concessionary price, right? Because we have requested the professor to do that for our students, so he has agreed. Therefore, you can talk to the coordinator, and if you are interested, sort that out. I'm not going to do that part of it. I'm not going to make a sales pitch for the book, but I just want to tell you that you guys are lucky now you have a proper textbook in addition to your notes and what we do in these classes. Okay, right. Thank you for being generous to share your time. So let's get back. Right. Did you guys write this while I was explaining all that? Yes. Say yes. Multitask. No? Did you write it while I was explaining everything? Emma Puta, you can buy from Sarasavi also. But before you do that, maybe that's closer to you. I understand that part. But before you do that, Puta, just if you can, just check with the coordinator. We might have some copies and we might be able to give you those at the previous price and the concessionary price, which will in some way help your parents, I believe. Okay, right. Just shoot a call to the coordinator or just drop a message. And then if the coordinator says, I'm not aware of that, that's what I'm saying. It's at my our admin office, right? Even that can be couriered if you want to, right? So just figure it out. You can do it. Right. Note, how are we doing? Done? Some of you guys have said you're done. How about the others? Yeah, done? Okay. So I'm going to start explaining and we are going to move on, right? Okay. Basically, it's a very simple thing. Don't overthink. In economics, now we are clear on needs. What are human wants? Human wants, we basically describe, let me get the highlighter out here. We define them as the various, or the, I'll use this word, simple word, different means. What does the word means mean? The word means simply means the different ways. Yeah, the different ways. Back to the highlighter. Different ways people choose to fulfill their needs. What are the different ways we choose, select to fulfill needs? What are the different ways we select to fulfill needs is basically called human wants. It's so simple. Don't overthink. Now, this is not me. This is your professor defining human need, the human wants, right? Okay. So that's great. Then wants are considered as ways of expressing. So what are wants? The ways we express. You understand the word express? Not express. That is a different thing, like trains. Expressing something means the way we simply show. Wants are the way we show our needs. Are we clear? Right. Then it says the fulfillment of wants is your professor uses the term fulfillment of wants is optional. Optional. Human wants are derived, or human wants, this is a really good word, Putta, if you can get used to it, derived or resulting from human needs. What does that mean? What comes first? Needs or wants? What comes first and then creates what? Can you give me the order? Number 1 and number 2. What is number 1? Always. Okay. Very good. Brilliant. I got quick responses. Number 1, yes. Right? Most of you guys are correct here. All of you guys are correct. Excellent. Number 1 is, right? Some of you guys knew that others will give number 1. So some of you have directly given number 2. You're sharing the response. Brilliant. Right? Number 1, we have needs. Right? Number 1, we have, yes. Number 1, we have needs. And when we have needs, it creates, number 2, wants. Wants. Needs create wants. Needs derive wants, not the other way around. Okay? Right. So basically now I will use another kind of a diagram also when I want to show the link connection, right? Now, the difference is needs we said are limited, but wants are unlimited. We are about to learn that. Another important thing is, now your examiner, your professor says optional. He says the fulfillment of wants are optional. So when I hear the word optional, I think of two things. One is, right, optional meaning can do without. Wants, things we can do without. Not a big deal. Needs, no. Essential. Necessary. Indispensable. Then basic human needs. Survival. No, but wants, no. We don't use serious things like that. Optional. Can do without. Then another thing that comes to mind is when I see this word optional is needs are, right? So needs are, we say, just I'm trying to explain this. Needs are, we'll use the word essential. Wants are, I'll write it here as well. What is the word? Luxuries. Wants are luxuries. Essentials, luxuries. Let me take one or two quick examples to show you this difference in the way we think about, in the way we understand the importance of needs and wants, or what are needs and wants. Needs are essential, wants are luxuries. Example, food is a need, obviously. In Sri Lanka, the main food that we consume is rice. So I believe rice is a need. But when you want that rice to be fried with vegetables and other things that create taste in it, you know, soup, kata and everything and seasoning and all that, and if you want it to be, you know, fried in a, if you want the rice to dance, you know, in a wok or something, you know, go up and down and all that, and if you want to do all that, right, and then you want to maybe cut up some sausages, whatever it is, don't think about it now. If you want to do all that, if you want to fry the rice and put vegetables in it and eggs in it and not whatever not in it and everything and make it into something else, fried rice is not a need. Fried rice is a just cooked plain rice is a need. Fried rice is a want. Very good. Something we can live without. Does that make sense to you, brother? You get the idea of what I'm saying? Water is a need or want? Water is a need or want? Need. Very good. But if you want the water to have minerals in it, if you want the water to have a slight taste to it, you know, we say this flavor to it. If you want the water to have sparkles in it, you know, those bubble like things that come up, and if you want it to be in a very stylish kind of a bottle, right, then that is no longer a need. Now, sparkling mineral flavored water is a what? It's a want. It's not a need. Get what I'm saying? So if you want the water to have all that, it's no longer a need, but no, it's okay. No problem. Right? Go for it. But don't call it a need. It's a what? Want. Now, from today onwards, when you guys use the words needs and wants at home, from today onwards, when you guys use the word needs and wants at home, think about the meaning and use. You are economics students, right? So think about the meaning and use. Don't just say need for, don't go and tell your parents, if you see an advertisement for the next generation something, the smartphone or iPhone or whatever, don't say, I need this. Don't go there. That's a want, not a need. Smartphone, I believe, is a need today. Especially today, smartphone is a need. In Sri Lanka, smartphone is a need. If not for anything, for one thing, smartphone is a need now in Sri Lanka. For what? Economics. Subject about human behavior in society. In the Sri Lankan society, smartphone has become a need, if not for anything, for one reason now. What is that reason? Okay. Fuel, petrol, need or want? If you really think about it, petrol, diesel is a need or a want? Fuel is a need. Yes, no, right. Good. You guys have answered. Yes. Yes. Some of the other answers also we can argue. Mainly, I said today in Sri Lanka, smartphone is a need because if petrol fuel is a need, you can't get it without this, national fuel pass. We need to have that QR, a quick response code with you and all that. So smartphone you need. No, you can take a printout and go. I saw when they showed this QR system being implemented on television in the news. I saw one gentleman, right? Maybe he thought the bigger the better. Sometimes we think the bigger the clearer. So he has printed the QR thing, the size of a A4 sheet. A4 sheet, that size, landscape orientation, he has printed and is giving it to with both hands like a certificate, is giving it to the fuel pump guy, right? And that guy is, struggling to scan the whole thing into the smartphone. But that's okay, but we will get there. We will be okay with it. We will get used to it. So smartphone. And yes, some of you have said for communication, obviously, yes, for communication. And some of you have said for education. Yes, with the lockdowns, with the pandemic and all that, how useful did the smartphones become? Now, there were many people, many students, I know, many kids who the parents were refusing to buy a smartphone. But the pandemic came, lockdowns came, schools shut down, and teaching became online. Margagata adhyapane. Then the kid looked at the parent and said, smartphone. Right? So done. Right. So that's that. So moving on. Also important, needs are essential, wants are luxuries. We know that. No, so let's move on. Right. Main characteristics of human wants. Now, don't get discouraged. Okay, don't get scared or discouraged. But your professor identifies actually in terms of characteristics or features. Remember what are characteristics? Things we can look at to identify that concept. For needs, what are the characteristics? Something is to have if it's a need. Or we say if it's basic, if it's limited, then we say, this is a need. The characteristics are there. You get what I'm saying? So then if something is a want, what are the characteristics? How do we identify a want? Okay, right. Now, according to your professor, there are actually 12 characteristics. That's a lot. Okay. Out of these, I would help you by trying to identify out of the 12. We'll write all 12, but I will try to narrow it down to one main characteristic, right? The core main characteristic, and maybe about 4 more, right? 4 more characteristics. So altogether, we are looking at 1 plus 4. That's 5 characteristics I want you guys to be very clear with. Okay, that's the best I can do for you, right? So don't worry about all 12, but these 5 things we need to really be good with, right? Here we go. They're very simple things. They're very practical things, right? of course, we'll spend most time we will spend most of the time we allocate for this discussion, spend on this discussion, most of the time we will use for the first one, because that is the main thing. So in your study material, this will be there, and there should be kind of an introduction I have given also, right? And source is your professor's book, by the way. Let me quickly take you to the study material. I think that will be better. Right, bonds. Here we go. Can you see this part? Right. So basically, the core or the main characteristics of human bonds. The main characteristic is the first one, what we are about to write, what you saw earlier, unlimited bonds, unlimitedness of bonds, unlimited in nature, whatever you can say that anyway. We will talk about it a bit more, and then in the next page, we will talk about what we call further characteristics of human bonds. So here we talk about the further characteristics. There we write 11, altogether 12 then, okay? Right. Out of that, 5 we'll identify and try to remember the main ones. Right. So let's get the job done. Why waste time? Right. Please write number 1, unlimited bonds, or you can say unlimited nature, right? Unlimited nature of bonds. By nature, naturally, bonds are unlimited. Bonds are unlimited, right? So what does this mean, Buddha? At a given point of time, there are many unattained, or we say simply unsatisfied. There are many unsatisfied human wants when considering the society of any country as a whole. If you look at the entire society, right, there will be enough and more people have satisfied enough and more of their wants. But if you look at the society at once, you will see, while there are many wants people have satisfied, there is equal or more wants that remain unsatisfied. Any moment, if you look at any country's society, right, there will be many unsatisfied wants. Wants will always have that quality in any society. Today, next week, next year, 5 years, 10 years down the line, if you look at the Sri Lankan society, the entire society at once, there will be many unsatisfied wants. That's the nature. Then it says, okay, then it says, when one want is fulfilled, immediately, when one want is fulfilled, not after some time, most of the time, immediately, at that moment itself, another want or wants, one or many, another want or wants is created, right? Generally, not always, but most of the time, related to the formerly, meaning earlier satisfied want. Now, give me an example. Now, for example, we'll say during the maybe the pandemic, the first, second wave, during those long periods of lockdown, when you guys couldn't go to school and when the whole thing shifted online, right? Now, even up to our 2020 batch, actually, even for 2020 batch, we didn't have. 21 we had. Yeah, 21 we had. So up to our 2020 batch, we didn't have something called virtual classes, right? I like to call it virtual. I think that's the proper words. Virtual, if you're saying physical, then you say virtual, no? In person and then virtual. We didn't have virtual classes, no? But we even had the need to come up with virtual classes because of the pandemic and the lockdowns. Now you guys are not having school all 5 days of the week for another reason. Hopefully, it will not be the same reason as before in the future. Hopefully not. Right? Anyway, Putta, the point I'm trying to make is when the pandemic came along, lockdowns came along, and when you guys couldn't physically go to school and education became online, we'll say, that's what they say, no, online, right? Maybe you had a want for a smartphone at that time. Yes, someone could argue then it's a need, right? We'll say want, you had want for a smartphone, right? Then once you buy the smartphone, is that all that you need, or do you need other things that go along with the smartphone? Is there any point in having a smartphone at home or with you while having your normal voice package, the SIM, the connectivity? Is there any point in having a smartphone? Along with the smartphone, what do you need to have in your in terms of your connectivity, in terms of your from your mobile service provider? What do you need along with the smartphone? Come on. Yes, you need to have the internet facility, very good data package. No, then if you're at home, right, then if you have maybe fixed line, then you will, once the smartphone want is satisfied, immediately you will tell your parents, okay, now let's get a what? Let's get the Wi-Fi done at home. Let's get the home internet sorted out. If possible, let's go for what is the fastest thing you can do in Sri Lanka at the moment. Let's go for a fiber optic connection. Yes. So let's do. So can you see with that? It keeps going. Then you might ask your parents, you might tell your parents, I need to have this, some kind of a headset or a hands-free thing, maybe those, earring like things. What do you call those? The two things that come out like stems. There's a name. They are AirPods. I don't know. Right. Pods. Right. I used to have one. I can't use it now anymore. One of the things was right. Last month, month before, I had some of my siblings, young ones, visiting. So right. Anyway, no, they are okay. The pod is not okay. Right. Okay. So the point is, so but the you will want those. Then a few other accessories if necessary, or maybe you would want a laptop. Then along with the laptop, again, those requirements. So it's always sequential. Now, maybe, okay, is there anyone here, right, who bought a bicycle recently? By any chance? No? Yep, quickly. Yes? Anyone who bought a bicycle recently? No? Okay. See, Pradhan, now, when people buy a bicycle, now one of my coordinators bought a bicycle recently, right, to come to work and all that. So I was putting a lot of pressure, right, on the gentleman saying, okay, it's good that you bought a bicycle at an unreasonably high price. That's a different story. Now, before you start really riding the bicycle on the open roads, you need to buy a what? We all know how we drive vehicles in Sri Lanka. No? All bicycle riders today, I believe, right, should have what? A helmet. So when you buy a bicycle, then comes the want for a helmet. When comes the want for the helmet, someone could argue it's a need. When you buy the helmet, then you need to buy, if you're traveling at night, those lights that flicker, those things. Then you need to buy maybe the bottle of water that fits in. Step by step, your wants keep growing. That's the nature. So wants by nature will always be unlimited. Why are human wants unlimited? Your professor identifies several reasons why human wants are unlimited. We understand what do we mean when we say they are unlimited, right? They never stop growing. They always keep growing, right? And what makes them unlimited? 4 reasons your professor identifies. So let's write them and quickly understand them. Then we are okay. First, it's inherent properties, certain qualities that are within you that make wants unlimited. Based on our birth, based on the family that we are born into, right? Or based on, what kind of, we say, this affluence meaning, are we born into a well-off family, a rich family, middle income. In Sri Lanka, middle income is almost disappearing. Then low income family. Depending on that, certain qualities are going to come into you that's going to make your wants unlimited. Then religious beliefs, family background, broadly the family background, how you do things in your family. Are you very conservative, very careful with the things you buy? Then that naturally comes into you, and the way your wants grow also, right? So I hope you guys are writing while I'm explaining, Buddha. Okay, right. Can I keep doing that? Can I keep explaining while you write? Yes, you guys will give your ears to me. I mean, listen and use your eyes and write the note also. That will be effective. Let's multitask. You guys are experts, your generation, in multitasking. Right. Then physical and material needs. Our physical and our material needs, right? Sometimes we use both of these words to give the same meaning. But remember, I said material is a better word for us. The needs that we can satisfy using goods and services. So remember, what did we say? Needs create wants. So when we have needs, it creates multiple wants. And that's another reason why our wants are unlimited. Okay. Then number 3, social environment. So it could be things like peer pressure, among your friends. It has happened to all of us. When one of your friends buy something, even though you really didn't have any idea in your head to buy that good or buy that kind of a product. I remember when we were schooling, or when we were going for A-level, when we were doing A-levels, right? Now, don't ask me when and all that, some time back. When we were doing A-levels, I remember one of my friends, that was the last year in advanced levels, the last few months before we left school, one of my friends for the entire school, right? This was in a support class, I think. I can't remember, tuition class, right? We had a lot of big group of people who we go for classes with. So one person brought to the class, right, a used mobile phone. It was a Nokia 3315. There was a model called 3315, which was very popular at that time, 3310, 3315. For you guys, it will look like a phone that should be kept in a museum if I show it to you, right? I don't have it now, but I still have my first phone. So basically, so when this guy bought this, my friend brought it, and you take it out and you look at the biggest thing in the phone was the different ringtones, and when you switch it on, that classic Nokia, music is there, and everyone gathers around and tries to get get it to their hand and all that, right? So it's a big thing. But the moment that happened, I remember when I was coming home after classes, I was thinking it would be nice if my parents also could afford to buy me a similar mobile phone, basic analog phone with those buttons and with this sandwich like thick phone, right? So but that's very natural thing. So societal, the environment in the society, the peer pressure, the friends, and what society does. Now, for example, this whole movement, the struggle we had, aragale we had, right? Had or having, right? Let's not go there. It became a thing where everyone, people, even when my friends, I'm sure your parents also had the same thing. It came to a point where when someone asks you, when someone talks to you, they will ask about how you are doing. They will ask about, do you have petrol? Then they will ask about, do you have LP gas at home? Are we okay? Are you guys okay? Next thing they will ask, no, you go to golf face. And it came to a point where even if you haven't gone, you would say, yes, I also went. Then some people, to prove that they go to golf face, they do all that, participate. There are a few places you have to visit when you go, and then they go, take the phone and go, right? and take a picture in a few places and then status updates and all that. You have to do that. Why did that want arise in people? Right? Because of the societal environment. I hope you guys are clear on what I'm saying. The fourth point we're about to write is the most powerful reason that wants are created or wants become unlimited. Most powerful reason wants become unlimited. What are these? Advertising, new technology and innovations. I want you to underline advertising, technology, innovation. These three things, especially technology, these three things is the most powerful reason that wants become unlimited. Most powerful reason why wants become unlimited. Okay. Right. So, Bada, I don't need to explain to you how good advertising can create this image in our head of a good life, of the life, and how we go behind that and make sure we buy those goods and services. Why we buy? Now, when you bought your first smartphone or when your parents bought you your first smartphone, did you at any point think for the next 4-5 years or for the rest of my life, I don't need to buy another phone unless this breaks because I have now got a smartphone? Does it ever happen that way? Do you think like that? I have this older version. I get it. I have this phone. So that's it. Now I'm set, done. Phone, smartphone, ticked. No more. No. What happens? These companies every year, what do they do? Apple Incorporated to Samsung and all these people, what do? They keep introducing the latest version. Now, Apple iPhone, what now? 12, 13, 15, what? 13. No? So when that comes out, wouldn't there be a want in you to buy that? It's a natural thing, no man. You know, it will have something more than what 12 had, no? It will have something more than what a few models back had, no? You get what I'm saying? So when new technology comes about, our wants keep growing, increasing. Innovation, same thing. Sometimes even if now innovations, for example, look at all these apps that you want to have in your phone, you know, that you get from the app stores and, you know, that Play Store and put it to your phone because they are innovative. They are coming up with something new. There is an app for almost everything. You understand what I'm saying? I think there isn't an app for only very few things now. Maybe one thing is because it happens naturally or automatically. There is no app that reminds us to. I know this is ridiculous, but there is no app that reminds us to breathe. There is no app that reminds us to hopefully when to use the washroom or when to take a shower or whatever. Maybe there is, I don't know. Right? Maybe there is, I don't know. Right? Apart from those kinds of bodily things, for almost everything else, if you really search for it, you will find some kind of an application is there. You know, that's innovation is creating more and more wants. Are we clear? Right. So we are done here. First, main or core characteristic of human wants is done. Unlimited nature, unlimited wants. Right? Okay. Then we move on. What are the other 11? So what I want you guys to do is, I'll just bring it on. I know it's going to be a lot at once, but quickly, Puta, can you write this so that I can touch on some of the main things? And you can see some of them are in bold lettering. So I want you to make sure you highlight them as well. And one of them I haven't highlighted. I'll highlight that also. Then we are done. Okay. I said 1, unlimited wants, and 4 more, altogether 5. Right. These are the further ones. So I'll highlight this while you guys start writing. So number 2, I'll do it that way. Number here. number 6, number 8, and number 9. Right. I think those are the most important out of everything, apart from the first one. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to quickly write 11, all 11, start with number 2, right? And then I will touch on the key ones. I think that should be okay. Okay. Okay, right. So I think you guys are getting towards the end. So let me quickly explain the points I have highlighted, or I wanted you guys to highlight. Human wants are inherent, right? So we talked about that a bit under what makes wants unlimited also, right? So there can be some of the points repeated, that's okay, right? But when we wanted to explain why wants are unlimited, we use some of the points, right? Human wants are inherent, that is non-biological reasons. As I said, traditions, customs, cultural values, religious beliefs, the family, each family also has a certain way we behave. No, but all families also don't make decisions, don't behave, or the interrelationship between family members is not the same. The parenting styles are different, stuff like that, right? Then 3, 4, 5, right? I've given something within brackets to make it easy for you to understand. So when you read, now for example, human wants are complementary. That is, when we buy things, we like to buy things together. That two things that go together, we always buy at the same time. Meaning we have a want at the same time. Now, as I said earlier, when we buy a bicycle, we tend to buy a helmet. When we buy maybe if we go, we'll say running or something like that. When we buy shoes, we also buy, when you buy active wear shoes or athleisure shoes, then along with that, you buy the outfit or the different clothes that you require. We buy things together. That's the meaning there. Then human wants are competitive, right? So wants are the different ways of satisfying needs. So sometimes we can't select all of them, obviously, because we have limited purchasing power or income. So they compete. Now, for example, if I'm going to buy some clothes, we'll say, I might have to decide between a shirt and a t-shirt. So they compete with each other, right? Likewise. Then there are material and non-material wants are there, right? Non-material is wants that are mostly they are not directly do with a good or a service, or at least they're not directly not to do with a good, right? It's more of something like counseling, something like therapy, stuff like that. Also, we have wants, right? And also it could be more psychological than psychological or emotional than physical, right? Then number 6, an important one for us, wants vary with 3 things: time, place, person. What does the word vary mean, Putta? Simple meaning for the word vary would be wants, we say, change, right? Wants change with time, place, and person. Even within the same day, the want you have for food, what you select for food in the morning for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner would not be the same. Or if you go with the 5 things, that is breakfast, brunch, lunch, supper, dinner, it's not going to be the same. Are we clear? It's going to be different, right? Then obviously with the place, the location, the geographical things change, climatic conditions change, so wants change. From person to person, wants are different. That's why we say wants are diverse, right? We say sometimes human wants are the word is diverse. Human wants are very diverse, right? Different from person to person. Then wants have alternative, that is many ways to satisfy the same want, right? True enough. Then number 8, wants are created through, we talked about this, we know this, advertising. What does advertising do? Good advertising creates a certain image in your mind, image of a good life. Today, advertising tries to create the image of the life. And sometimes people get it so deep in their mind that they feel if they don't live like what is shown in the advertisement, there's no point in living. Get it? So advertising can be very powerful. Sometimes can be harmful also. Sometimes. Number 9, wants multiply with modernization, right? This is where we looked at things like technology, we look innovation, right? All that comes into play when we say modernization. Then wants change into habits. Yes, some wants convert into habits. Initially, it's a want, but then psychologically, habits are psychological things. No, psychologically, you develop that into a habit, especially things like cigarettes, alcohol, gambling, so on and so forth. Sometimes there are good habits also, maybe reading, right? It's a good habit to have likewise, right? Maybe watching good, documentary, informative things on YouTube, something like that, right? Then present wants are more important than future wants. When it comes to wants, Buddha, we don't look too much into the future. We always try to look at, okay, what do I want now and how do I get it? Wants are about the present. Wants are not really about the future. Okay. If you have to sacrifice a present want for the future, that will not rarely happen. You will always give more importance for the present want, because only then you can satisfy the need, and therefore, because needs are essential, wants are the different ways of satisfying needs. So you will have to select a want now and sacrifice something in the future. Right. Are we okay? Can we move on? Yes. Ladies, gentlemen, my intelligent students. Are there gentlemen in the session? I forgot to check that. Yes. Any boys? No? Yes. You used to have few sessions. Right. Anyway. No. Okay. No problem. Let's continue. Right. Okay. As I was saying, so moving on, human wants and needs. We are going to talk about the difference and the link. Okay. Difference and the link. So the difference is human needs are limited and human wants are unlimited. I would like to add something with your permission. It's in blue color, so you guys have to write it down also. But wait. Let's do it this way. Right. Human needs are, okay, limited, yes, and maybe within, maybe you can say limited and essential, okay, or at least within brackets, you can say they are essential, and human wants are unlimited, yes, and they are what was the word I used? Luxuries. They are luxuries. Okay. Right. That's a good thing to add also. Mainly human needs are limited, wants are unlimited. Then, so this is what, this is the difference, right? Difference, right? Good enough, no? Can read. Okay. Then the link, human wants reflect, that means show or represent different means, ways of satisfying limited human needs. So this is the what we call the link, the connection between needs and wants, difference and the link. Okay, right. Then Buddha, a very good way to illustrate this is if you take a need, right? If you take a need, so need could be food, right? There are many wants. One want could be sandwiches. Of course, I can't fill this for you, because each of you will have a different preference. Wants are diverse, no? Different from person to person, isn't it? So some of you might not even have sandwiches in your list. You might not even think about it, right? Or what are the food wants? One of you guys would have, another person would have a completely different list. Is it clear, Buddha? Right? So, but maybe you can just try this out as an exercise. Food, if it's the need, what are the wants? Clothes, What are the wants? Communication, what are the wants? What are the wants of communication? What are the ways to communicate? Can you give me some wants for communication? It could be maybe mobile communication. It could be social network based communication. No, it could be calling someone. It could be, yes, very good, radio. No, many people don't think about it. Radio, yes. Then, maybe sometime back people communicated by writing. What? Familiar? By writing? Letters, yes. No? Don't, maybe your parents have already shared these things with you. Sometimes if your parents, when they were your age, when they were young, if they had known each other, then also they might have communicated by writing letters. That's the only way to communicate. And occasionally, very rarely, you get the chance to make a call using a land phone. Mobile phones was not the thing then. Then came mobile phones, right? Then people can communicate via electronic mail, email. No, people then can communicate using, as I said, social networks. You can communicate without saying a single word by taking a picture and sending. You can communicate by using different what are those yellow color, different color face like things people try to communicate their emotions with. No, that's a way to communicate. No, that's an option. Maybe television, maybe you guys know what I'm talking about, yeah? Right, okay. So you can maybe use television, yes, Snapchat, you can use Instagram and communicate, different ways. You can maybe act out your emotions within a few seconds and communicate. What is that? You can, voice your emotions, you can sing them, and you can act and communicate with people. That's also possible. No? So all of these things are different ways to communicate. So there are enough ones. Then transportation, similarly. Entertainment, similarly. Again, we go back to, social networks, social media, like YouTube, to different things, even Twitter and those things, I mean, even for entertainment, right? Then what is the most newest way people consume entertainment content? What is the newest way people consume content? It's that your generation, okay, yes, your generation is not the generation where you guys watch television now. No, television comes last in the list. No, right? Even movies, you rarely now go to a cinema hall and watch. No, so it's now about streaming services, from the Netflix to Amazon Primes to, the different, Disney also has a thing, HBO has a thing. So all of these are new ways to receive entertainment. TikTok, yes, to receive entertainment, right? Even YouTube, I think, can be considered. Right. Yeah, I think we are okay. So just try to do this at home, Puta, if you can. You have the PDF of the slides I've given, student version. Just do this exercise that will get you to think about bonds a bit more. Right. Needs to satisfaction. So what we're going to do is quickly write this note. And then it's a basic thing, right? Not a big thing to understand. So why don't you guys quickly write this? I'll explain it quickly as well. Please let me know soon as you are done. Right. So, done. Basically, but it's a very simple concept. Humans have needs, and to fulfill the needs, or when we have needs, we choose different wants, and fulfill our wants. The only way known to human beings, so only way humans can fulfill our wants is by consuming. The word consuming, always remember it with that simple meaning. Consuming means use, using. So by consuming or using different goods and services, so by consuming or using different goods, tangible goods, intangible services, we can, so by consuming, using, we can fulfill, meaning satisfy our wants. The moment we satisfy our wants, we will in turn, so whenever wants are set, if wants are created because of needs, then it works the other way also, no? When our wants are satisfied, that means what is satisfied? Our needs are also satisfied. So it's a very simple thing. Then in economics, there's a special word we use when we have a want and when we fulfill, the special word we use when we use a good or service and actually satisfy one of our wants. There's a word we use for that. That is called utility. Utility is the ability within a good or service. Listen carefully. It's very simple. Utility is the ability within a good or service to satisfy a want. So any good or service has, right? Any good or service has utility. What does that mean? The utility is the ability to satisfy our needs and our wants. Needs create wants. So that is what we call utility. So any good or service, right? Any good or service. If you take a pen has a utility. What is the utility the pen has? We can use it, we can write, which means it is satisfying our need, maybe for education, our want to write. So we have chosen a pen, so that will give us the utility. So every good or service, every item, the smartphone, the laptop, or the tab you are using to be a part of this class has a utility, usefulness. And yes, that's another easy thing for you. The word utility comes from the word usefulness, comes from the word usefulness, right? Or simple meaning, it comes from the word every good or service has a certain use. So when we make use of the use, right, we are getting the utility out of that good or service. Is it clear? Is the concept of utility clear to all of you guys? The ability within every good or service to satisfy or fulfill our needs and wants. That is utility. Any good or service has a utility. That is why we create, that is why we produce goods and services, because they have utility, right? I'm aware of the time, right? I'm about to conclude now, but I want you guys to be clear that we are okay with what we are discussing. Otherwise, no point. And yes, whether you realize it or not, the areas we covered today, there were a lot to explain, a lot to talk about. So looking at the areas, we have done more today, right? When you look at the pages, it will not see. Okay, knowledge is qualitative, not quantitative. It's not the number of pages. Okay, I hope you guys are clear. Then we say, when we use or consume a good, what we are actually doing is taking or deriving. Remember that word, deriving, taking out the utility and fulfilling a given human want. That is what consumption is. So what I have defined here is, right, what I have defined here is the activity called consumption. So if you are asked what is consumption, this is what consumption is. Taking the utility out of different goods and services and satisfying our needs and wants. Then Buddha, we have this simple concept called law of diminishing marginal utility. So I'm going to give you some simple words. Law meaning something that happens the same way each time, every time. That we call it a law. Now in physics, there are different laws. In O-level science, you have learned 3 of Newton's laws about gravity. You have learned, yes? So every action or every action has an equal and opposite reaction, laws. So every time something happens with if there's a law for it, that means it will happen in that exact way. Then we say law. If that is clear, good. If not, don't worry about it too much. We will learn these things later on, right? I mean, the meaning for the word law. We learn many laws in our subject. It's a scientific subject. Then the word diminishing means gradually, slowly, step by step, right? Gradually decreasing, right? Gradually decreasing. When something slowly, step by step decreases, when something slowly, step by step decreases, we say diminishing, gradually decreasing. Marginal. The word marginal means, I'll write it here, extra or additional. I don't need to explain the word utility. You guys know that. So what does law of diminishing marginal utility mean? It means the law of gradually decreasing extra or additional satisfaction, additional utility. Utility is basically satisfaction. The economic word is utility, right? Satisfaction. So what is another way to say the law of law of diminishing marginal utility? What is another way to say the law of gradually decreasing extra or additional satisfaction? This is very simple. Any product, it could be your favorite product in the world. It could be your favorite product in the world, right? It could be your favorite product in the world. Okay? Even if it's your favorite product in the world, if you consume that product one after the other, how do we say it? One after the other, right? If you keep consuming the first unit, let me quickly use this diagram, right? If you eat 3 burgers, the first burger will give you less satisfaction than the second burger. What am I saying? The second burger will give you less satisfaction than the first burger. You can see here. Very first burger that you eat, the satisfaction thermometer comes to the highest point here, right? Immediately after, if you eat the second burger, the satisfaction you get, the extra, the additional, the extra satisfaction you get from the second burger is going to be less than the satisfaction you got from the first burger. Already you have eaten one. Second, third burger, it's going to give you the even less satisfaction, right? And if you keep on continuing this, at one point, it will stop giving you satisfaction and it will give you dissatisfaction. Don't think about what that means, right? Don't think about what that means. It will give you dissatisfaction. So we call it disutility. So there's utility and disutility. Any product, the more you consume, the less and less and less and less extra satisfaction you receive. This is called the law of diminishing marginal utility. Remember a simple way, the law of gradually decreasing extra or additional satisfaction. It's for any product, that is the behavior. That is why when we want to buy more of a product, we want to pay less. Why do we want to pay less when we want to buy more of a product? Because every extra unit we buy gives us lesser and lesser and lesser satisfaction. If the next unit gives us a lesser satisfaction, we will say we will want to pay less for the next unit. So the demand for any good will only increase. We will only buy more if the price keeps decreasing. Why? Because every time we buy more of a product, the additional satisfaction, the extra satisfaction keeps decreasing. So for decreasing satisfaction, we want the price also to decrease. So lower the price, higher the demand. We buy more. But higher the price, we will not buy more, because why should we pay more and buy something when the extra satisfaction keeps on decreasing? So that explains another law called law of demand. We'll learn, nothing, no problem. That's in unit 2. Are we clear on this simple meaning of law of diminishing marginal utility. Any product, when you keep consuming more units one after the other, so every extra unit you consume, the extra satisfaction, additional satisfaction you feel keeps on decreasing. Are we okay? Yes, right. Any questions you guys can ask. Now I'm going to officially finish the class and stop the recording. After that, I will hang around for a few minutes. If you guys have any questions, clarifications, please ask Buddha. I can explain. Okay, so let me now stop the recorded version of today's virtual session.